Welcome back to Gaming with the Kraken. Today we're going to look at Nexon's new game, Kartrider Drift. These are the same people who made MapleStory. I do like their art style, and the simplicity of the music is always pleasant. To start, I want to let you know that this was a round 2 beta test, and I am in no way paid by Nexon or Intel to make this review. That being said, I do have some opinions on what I experienced. Growing up in the 90s and 2000s, there was an overabundance of racing games on every platform imaginable, so this is by no means an innovative game. I was a big fan of the Mario Kart series and most of the Need for Speed games. I also put more hours than I care to admit in a PlayStation classic called Speed Freaks, or Speed Punks. That being said, I'm going to take a slightly different approach to my usual review format and skip over most of the basic mechanics. It is a racing game after all. This, like many kart racers, has 2 modes, items on and items off. Both modes can be played in solo, duo, or teams. When loading in, there's a map difficulty meter, and so far I've only seen as high as 3 stars. As expected, it reflects the amount of sharp turns and lack of walls you'll encounter. While cruising around, I began to feel like I've seen these maps before, but then again, how many ways can you really dress up a racetrack? I want to mention again that this game is in beta testing, and I'm sure most of what I'm about to touch on may be changed. Hopefully it's for the better. So let's take a look at the HUD system first. It's bulky to say the least. Covering a good portion of the screen is your position, as well as the position of everyone else on the track. I understand it so you can see where people are, but it doesn't have to take up so much of your vision. In a survey I took after playing, I mentioned the system could be integrated into the map so you can free up more of the track. The same goes for the lap counter. It doesn't need to be so darn big. I would personally like them to give each player the ability to make these adjustments to their liking, maybe allowing to move or at least lower the opacity a little bit. Then there's the rearview mirror. Some games allow you to turn it on and off at will, because many experienced players could already utilize the map for the same information. The positioning was another design flaw. At no point do I want to look at the bottom of my screen while racing. Maybe putting it at the top would make more sense, that way I can flick to it without taking my eyes off the road as much. This also applies to the speedometer. That is by far the most useless bit of information I can think of in any kart game, plus it's wildly inaccurate. Just by watching how slowly I'm passing the buildings, I know I can't be doing 200 kilometers an hour. All of that came down to design choice, though it can be easily fixed if you let the players have control over the positioning of these things. But I would like to see one major change. That's with the boost meter. You get points towards a boost by drifting and driving well. It fills up a bar at the bottom and converts directly into power-ups. I like the thought, but the implementation is a missed opportunity on the designer. Why not integrate that meter into the bumper of the kart? I personally don't need to see my brake lights while racing, so why not just put the meter there and clear up more screen for the players? I feel like I've just been complaining. So let's keep going. Next on the list, the driving itself. This is once again not a new game mechanic. People have been perfecting it for decades, so when it's not done right, it's glaringly obvious. The collision engine works a little too well. Slight bumps into players or obstacles can either send you flying forwards or make you come to a screeching halt. I feel like there was very little in between. I would have liked to see the karts get jostled a little more when clipping things as opposed to completely stopping. It would give the player a chance to stay in the race as long as they can regain control. More thought was put into the boost system when being hit by an enemy item. At least there you can recover a little ground after the enemy decides to lift you 10 feet in the air with a water bubble. Last but surely the most important aspect in my eyes, drifting. I didn't like it. The maps provided were obviously the easy ones and had very few turns that required the use of drifting, but come on man, you put drift in the title of the game. I expected to be doing power slides on every single turn, cutting the wheel, wrenching the handbrake on a hairpin on the final lap for a photo finish. Instead there was an average of 2 nice turns per map, but that could be seen as a good thing, because the game mechanic itself wasn't great. A slight tap of the drift key would throw the back end of your kart, and if you didn't hold the turn tight enough, you regained traction completely and lost the opportunity for the boost. It felt like more of a sharp turn instead of a drift. There was also little to be gained from trying it. The boost barely made up for the speed lost on the turn, and it only came in one size, extra medium. It may sound like I'm super disappointed by this game, but I'm not. I actually had a lot of fun. I played about 6 hours since they let me have the beta key, and there's just a lot to it that I probably haven't seen yet. Also, it is still in beta, so they're probably going to be adding more features. Nexon always does solid work, but for now, it's just your average kart racer. Maybe I'll come back after full release to see where they take it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in game. Catch you next time.